Hi guys, Paul here at Radioshop. Hope you're all staying safe and thanks for joining me in this video. As you can see, I'm filming outside today. It's a nice day, so I thought I'd take the work outside. And this video is all about us introducing our new guitar, which we bought a few weeks ago before everything started going bonkers. We've bought a lovely guitar, which has a little bit of a story behind it. I'm going to show you a little close-up of it. It's a Hohner SE400 made in Korea guitar from the mid-90s. And it may or may not have been owned by me at some stage. And I'll tell you that story in a second. And also in the video, I'm going to show you myself sprucing up the pickups and actually rewinding them to our Electric Spanish spec for a really nice new sound. So let's have a little look at the guitar first, and as you can see, it's a big jazz box, a big sort of made for jazz type guitar, and it's really beautifully made. It was made in Korea in the mid-90s. I can't see a serial number on it anywhere, so it's almost impossible for me to tell exactly when it was made. I did pull up a spec from the internet and it said it had a sort of a maple back and sides and may have had a spruce top, but you know, it's anybody's conjecture whether this is actually fully true or not. As you can see, it's got a tune-o-matic. It's got twin humbuckers, gold hardware, though it's really lovely sort of tarnish that's happened to the pickup since and to the rest of the hardware. It's got a trapeze tailpiece, and yeah, it's just really nicely made guitar. It plays lovely acoustically. When I got it, it was a bit sort of poorly in tune, and I've needed to do a little bit of work on the nut just to get it all a bit more sort of stable. But yeah, really lovely build, and now set up to how I like it for my style of playing. I'm going to talk about a little bit of the story behind this guitar, because I may or may not have actually owned this guitar previously. I'm going to explore that a little bit now, but I'll tell you a little bit of background behind that story, because I think, like myself, like many other people, I've had many guitars over the years, and there've been guitars that I've sold which I should never have sold. A certain one that's springing to mind is a Guild D55. I should never have got rid of that guitar. You know, we've all done it. In moments of gas where you're looking to buy another guitar, you get rid of something to fund that goal, and something goes, and then later on you regret it. And I've probably owned dozens and dozens of guitars, and some of them I regret, some of them I don't, but one of them I really do regret is my second ever guitar. And as you've guessed it, it was a Hohner SE400. I was 17 years old. I'd just really been playing about 6 months, and I'd really got stuck into playing, and I was making quite quick progress really on a Washburn acoustic I had, and it was time for me to get an electric guitar. And when it came to buying an electric guitar, I wanted something that was fairly sort of semi-acoustic-y, partly inspired by John Squire of the Stone Roses, who was my hero at that time. But also I was listening to a lot of rock and roll, Eddie Cochran, Chuck Berry and so on. So I started to fancy, if you like, the sort of really bigger bodied guitars that would be good for rock and roll as well. So there were a number of reasons why for my first electric guitar I was targeting something that was a big bodied guitar with some F-holes. I love the look of F-holes. So I did a bit of a pilgrimage to Swansea. Well, a pilgrimage, it was only 7 miles, but I did a trip to Swansea to have a look to see what would be in the guitar shops. And I went to Roland's, where I'd bought my first guitar. It's not there anymore, but it was on St Helens Road, and I went upstairs, and they had this Hohner SE400, which had the trapeze tailpiece, which looked a lot like Chuck Berry's. He had a white guitar, but this one had a trapeze tailpiece. It had twin humbuckers. It looked the part. I played it, it played nicely, and I thought, that's the guitar I want. I think I may have gone home then, and over the next few weeks, probably press ganged my parents to get it for me for Christmas. And I've actually been able to dig out a receipt from purchasing that Hohner, which I'll show you there. And really, it was, I think I paid £250 for it, which was quite, you know, a bit of money back then. And I've got the guitar, had it for Christmas, loved it, absolutely loved it. And here's a picture of me enjoying it. I look pretty young there. Changed a little bit, haven't I? And yeah, so I made further progress on learning the guitar on it. And then later on I did some traveling, and the guitar was left at home for a while. And I suppose I fell out of love with it. By the early 2000s, to fund the purchase of a Fender Stratocaster, I let this thing go. And I sold it in the Cardiff or Pontypridd area, somewhere, I can't quite remember, but it was round about that area of Wales. And I didn't really think about any more of the guitar, but now I think back, and I think that was one of the happiest times for me as a guitar owner and player, the time when I was really learning and bonding with an instrument, and the time where I was really getting to grips with playing the guitar, was really on this Hohner. So inevitably, sort of 20 years later, I've started to think about the guitars that I should never have got rid of, and I started to think about Rickenbacker that I had once and got rid of. I started thinking about a Gretsch Country Gent, and I started thinking about this Hohner, and I thought, well, that's probably a guitar I could probably rebuy. So I started looking. I think it was prior to Christmas, I started looking online, and they seemed quite rare. I didn't see many come up. They'd be the odd one, but they seemed quite reasonably priced, around about £200-300 maybe. And I thought, maybe that is one guitar that I could kind of right the wrong of selling it and rebuy and rehave, if that's a word. So I started thinking about it, and then inevitably I started thinking about something else, and I dropped it completely. And then about 3 or 4 weeks ago, I did a search on Facebook Marketplace. I just put in guitar. I just put in guitar, and I put it in a certain sort of radius, and it just came up. This Hohner SE400 in the Pontypridd/Cardiff region. I thought, wow, I could rebuy that. And it was £180. It was ridiculous, ridiculously cheap for the level of guitar it is. As I said, it's all made in Korea. Really, really lovely guitar. And it's available for £180. I thought, I fancy that. I fancy having that. And then my brain started going, hang on. What if that's my guitar? What if it's the one that I sold back in the early 2000s? So I started thinking, well, I need to go and have a look at this guitar. I messaged the chap and went over, and I had a look at it. And to be honest, the first thing I was looking at was, are there any sort of really distinguishing features in the wood grain? And there aren't really. It's really hard for me now to sort of work out whether this is my guitar or not. But nevertheless, I saw it, played it, and thought, oh, I love this. I'm really gonna, I need to buy this guitar. I need to kind of right this wrong. Whether it's mine or not, I still need to get it. So I bought it, took it home, and a few days later, I spoke to my mother and I said, oh, I bought this guitar. And they were like, well, how can you prove if it is the guitar or not? I said, well, this is where you come in, and you're going to help me, hopefully. Have you got any photos from Christmas 1996? We've got we found the receipt, we managed to dig out the receipt, but have we got any photos where I can kind of analyze it and look for grain patterns and things like that? And they were like, oh, you got to be joking, I'm not looking for that now. And about two hours later, my mother got back to me and she said, yeah, I found some photos. And here is the photo, again, that you saw earlier on, of me sitting with the guitar. Now, is it the same guitar? I don't think it is. It is, without a doubt, the same model, an almost identical guitar, but I sadly think that possibly it isn't the same guitar. And there's two things leading me to this. If you look at the picture from the old me from 1996 or 97, you can see two things. That where the sunburst meets the neck humbucker, it's kind of almost like in a sort of V, the sunburst there. And that's the case of the 90s guitar there with me. But it's not the case of this guitar now. It doesn't seem to follow that sunburst pattern. Another distinguishing feature you can see, which I remember now, of the guitar on the headstock, is that the H of the Hohner, the first H, was very dark, very, very dark, and you could barely see it. And in that photo, that's true too. You can barely see the big H of the Hohner. But on this guitar that I have here, it's more prominent. So, in conclusion, is this my guitar? I think sadly it isn't my guitar. However, it is a lovely guitar, and I do feel that I've kind of righted that wrong of a guitar I sold that I shouldn't have, that I now have back. So not the identical one, but nevertheless the identical model, and the same sort of pleasure that I'm getting from it now. I'm running through some of the old material that I learned back then, the Stone Roses stuff, 12 Story Love Song, lots of sort of stuff that I kind of learned early on, and I'm really enjoying playing the guitar. And I've decided to spruce it up. So the first thing was I needed to set it up to my liking, and then I started looking at sort of the tuning stability wasn't great, so I've worked on that a little bit and gone with the nut a little bit and sort of corrected a few little bits and bobs there. And then I wanted to actually put some of our pickups in there and a set of our Electric Spanish PAFs in there. I could have put fresh ones in, but I really liked the tarnishing on the humbucker, so I thought, why don't I rewind them? So as you can see here now, I'm taking the pickups out and I'm going to rewind them. So I've stripped them, I've got the wire off them. When I got inside the pickups, I think they were Kent Armstrong. They were quite a heavy duty sort of pickup that I found quite hard to break down. They also had ceramic magnets, which don't give a great warm sound. So upgrading them to some Alnico ones is what I'm going to do. I'll put Alnico 4 in the bridge and Alnico 2 in the neck. And as you can see there, I'm rewinding the bobbins to our spec. You know, our recipe is fantastic for humbuckers, and this recipe here for the Electric Spanish is a really lovely warm sounding PAF set. And so I've got that rewound now. I'll do another video in the future about what makes PAFs tick and what makes a good humbucker, but I've got that now back into the guitar and I'm loving it. This sounds fantastic. I've done the pickup height and I'm going to give you a little listen in a second. And it's just me playing, guys. It's not amazing playing, and it's not amazing sound quality, but I'm going to give you a little listen to what it sounds like, and then I'll do a proper video another time going into the sounds of the Electric Spanish set. So I hope you've enjoyed seeing the story behind the acquisition of the guitar, and I hope you enjoy the tones from the guitar as much as I am. And thanks for watching, guys, and again, hope you're all staying safe, and I'll catch you soon.